Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going through some good locations to find a moose in Red Dead story, whether you're trying to complete the zoologist challenge and complete your compendium, or you're trying to find a 3-star pelt for an item at the trapper. So I'm going to go through some good locations, and then I'm going to go through some tips on how to preserve that 3-star pelt quality, and also some tips on just how to get a moose to spawn. I do think the moose is one of the toughest animals to spawn in the game. I did run into challenges even when making this video. So I want to try to just give you some tips to help make it a little bit easier for you if you're struggling to find that elusive moose. Let's get into it. Location number 1 is Barrow Lagoon, and I really like this location because it has a very high spawn rate for me personally. I often see moose there, and also it is available early on with Arthur. So as early as chapter 2, you can access this location once you're able to free roam, and that means you can start getting a moose right away, whether you're trying to complete your compendium, go for that zoologist challenge, or you're just trying to get a moose for an item at the trapper. Now, just like with the Panther video, if you watch that, I always recommend clearing out any events that are happening around the area that you're looking for the moose. Now, will animals still spawn when events are going on? Yes. However, remember, all of these things are competing in the game for spawns. So if you have an event going on, it's less likely that the thing you're looking for is going to spawn. And that means that it's better to clear out things like camps, ambushes, animal events, and that's just going to give the highest probability that the thing you're looking for, in this case the moose, will be the thing that spawns. So when I first pull up here to Barrow Lagoon in this first clip, you can see that there is an animal event going on. There is a grizzly bear and a wolf out on the ice. So this is something that I would want to clear out, and then I would want to try to go into that area again. Now, typically my advice is to, anytime you get around the area that you're going to look for an animal that you're trying to get like a 3-star for, or in this case a moose you're trying to get like the bull moose versus the western moose, is you're going to want to save the game. And then if there's events going on, clear that out and then save the game again. That way, if you have to reload your save, you have kind of a fresh, you're exactly where you want to be. And this is just going to save you time. Okay, after clearing out the grizzly and wolf event, I do ride a short distance away. I go ahead and set up camp and I sleep for a little bit. This just helps to reset the area. I then start riding back down toward Barrow Lagoon, and sure enough, there is a bull moose on the left-hand side. Now, I don't recommend doing what I did, which is to run straight up to the moose, and that's just going to spook it, and it's going to make it hard to accomplish whatever you're trying to accomplish. So instead, stay back, go ahead, use the binoculars and study it, and once you've studied it, you can always see the star pelt quality, so you know if it's going to be a 3-star, and you can use it at the trapper. If not from there, if you're trying to complete the compendium, you can go ahead and study, track, kill, and skin. If it's a 2-star and you want to go ahead and skin it for the meat, otherwise you can't use it at the trapper. So a method for killing to preserve the pelt quality, especially if it's a 3-star, is going to be to lasso it and then hit the prompt to kill. That is always going to preserve the pelt quality. There's no way for it to drop, so it's a great method. Just make sure that you lasso close enough, because you can run out of stamina and the animal can break free. Okay, so this next location is actually my number 1 spot to find a moose in story. It's extremely reliable for me. Every time, whether I'm going there or not, if I come around that corner, there is almost always a moose there for me. I don't think this one is marked on the Ropke map either, but it's my most reliable spot. It's just that you can't use this spot until you can access the tall trees area. So that's typically in the epilogue, unless you're using some kind of a glitch. What I like to do is fast travel to Manzanita and approach from that side. It's much easier to kind of sneak around the corner to be able to spot the moose, so you can use your binoculars. Then if you're coming up from the strawberry side and across the low bridges, you're kind of coming up, and when you come around the corner, you're right there where the moose is, so it almost always spooks. So again, it's easier if you want to go nice and slow and you don't want to spook the moose, and you either want to use binoculars to track it, or you want to use a carcano or rolling block to kill it. Then that is just a much easier location. So you basically just leave out of Manzanita. I marked the location here, and you can see in the video, you're going to come around this one Rock, I recommend going slowly at this point because the moose is usually standing out on the slab of rocks that's right out there in front. I pointed out in this first part of the video, I use my rifle to kind of point it out, and then I even walk over with the horse so that you can see exactly where it's going to spawn. Now in this part, this was just a better way to show you how to get there, but there wasn't actually a moose here this time. So in the second clip that's going to be playing, you're actually going to see where the moose is. Okay, so in this clip, I'm back in the same location. I'm moving very slowly around those rocks again. And when you look out this time, you can see the bull moose. Now, I think when it comes to moose, it can spawn either the bull moose or the western moose. But it's almost always a bull moose here for me. I don't know if it's always is for everybody or it just is a coincidence that happens to be a bull moose for me most of the time. But you can see here, this one is only a 2-star. I actually did try to reload a save, which is my normal trick to try to get a different star level. Unfortunately, there was the same moose was there. It was still only a 2-star, so it didn't work in that case. But if you do come across an animal that is a 1 or a 2-star and you're trying to get a higher star level, doing things like reloading saves can be helpful, or sleeping and trying again can also be helpful as well. But again, if you just need the moose for your compendium, then a 2-star works fine. You can track them and study them, kill and skin them. It doesn't have to be a certain star level, only if you're trying to get something from the trapper. Okay, this next location is the Brandywine area, and this is a really good area because there's a lot of different spawn points all around, so the likelihood of getting a moose is increased. Now, this video clip that I'm showing here is not fantastic. I actually had trouble getting a moose to spawn here when I was trying to get footage. That's pretty unusual. I normally get a moose to spawn on that right-hand side of the bridge. You can see in this clip, the moose is on the left-hand side, so I normally get the right-hand spawn pretty regularly, and I just couldn't get it this time, and it's also kind of foggy in this clip. But the nice thing, again, if you know where the spawns are, use your binoculars, look around. In this case, the great thing about a moose versus a panther is that moose, unless you spook it, isn't going anywhere. So it's easier to use a sniper, a carcano, or a rolling block to just get the one-shot headshot. This case, it was a 3-star. It was not a bull moose. It was just a western. So if you're looking for the bull moose for the compendium, this wouldn't have worked. But if you're looking for a 3-star moose to get something at the trapper, then this one would have been perfect.
Easy there.
Okay, location number 4 is Owanjila. That's outside of Strawberry. This is another great location with a really good spawn point on it. Now, unfortunately, again, this is not the best video I could give you. Like I said, I did have some trouble getting the moose to spawn. It is one of the harder animals for me. So while I have seen lots of moose at this location, just in the couple weeks that I was trying to get footage for this, I wasn't able to get it spawn in the location that it normally does. At the end of this clip where you see the moose leave the water on that little bank there, that's actually usually where the moose is standing. So if you kind of come around the corner, that's typically where the spawn is that you can see when you use your binoculars. For some reason, this moose must have gotten spooked by something. I don't know if it was me or something else, but I actually catch it when I'm using the binoculars. I see something swimming, and sure enough, when I focus in on it, it does happen to be a moose. So again, a great location for moose. It can spawn either the bull moose or the western moose. I believe this is a western moose in the clip, but for some reason, it just wasn't able to get it to spawn on the shores like I normally would. So I would employ the same tricks that you would do any other time, and that would be to create a save, ride away a little bit, set up camp, sleep, and then just try to reset that area to try to get that moose to spawn in. Okay, this next location is one that I had not utilized too often, but the more that I try it, the more reliable it does seem to be. So I highly recommend checking this one out. It's actually, there's a couple different spawn points basically on the road towards the Loft. So we're talking about the northern part of the map. I like to fast travel or at least start approaching from the Wapiti end, because the one in the video is the first spawn point that I typically hit, but there's one a little bit further down, a little bit closer to the loft. If you're not 100% sure where the loft is, I kind of show the map here, but it's also if you're heading toward like that Brandywine area at the top part of the map, it's not quite that far down, but it's kind of in the middle, and it's got that tower if you've ever seen that. So again, this is another one where this moose actually caught me off guard a little bit, because I typically get the second spawn a little bit more frequently, and so this one I wasn't quite prepared for, so just go nice and slow or be prepared. And I left in this clip of me trying to lasso it to preserve the 3-star pelt quality, because once the moose is moving, if you're a really good shot, it's great. If you're not, so I wanted to kind of show that you can lasso, and it's just the game gets a little wonky. Sometimes your lasso is going to miss. Sometimes you're going to fall off your horse. Also be careful, because there is a static grizzly spawn up here as well, so you can see that in the clip. But basically the moose aren't so fast. So if you can get back on your horse and run toward it, you'll typically be able to catch up and use your lasso. And again, that just ensures that the 3-star will stay a 3-star, that if you fire your gun at it and it doesn't quite kill him in one shot, you don't have to worry about that with the lasso. Okay, just to give you a few more locations that have been very reliable for me in the past, but I either didn't try them for this video or I couldn't get a moose to spawn. This first clip here is at Aurora Basin. This is an epilogue location, and I put a little black arrow where the moose typically spawns. In the second clip, that would be O'Crea's Run. There's multiple different spawn locations there. You can see me looking through the binoculars, but unfortunately I just didn't see one when I checked. I only did once or twice though, so you know, it does spawn there pretty frequently. The next picture is one of my thumbnails of me chilling next to a moose in Big Valley. So there is a static spawn in the middle of Big Valley that is fantastic. That would be more of an earlier one you'd want to do, just because later there's going to be stuff up there that might affect the spawn rate for that as well. Some other places that I didn't try, Lake Isabella has a really good spawn, and also Calumet Ravine, which is right outside Wapiti, also has a pretty good spawn there. These are not the only spawns for moose locations. There are just a couple more to try if you're struggling. Again, I highly recommend you check out the Ropke Map if you are struggling to get moose to spawn in certain areas. It just might not be a good area for you. So check out the map, try some different locations, and just see if you can get one to spawn in. So let's go over a few tips here. If you're someone who doesn't mind using outside resources, I'm going to highly recommend that you check out the Ropke Map. Now, most people know about the collector's version, but there's actually just a plain RDO version that has a lot of really helpful information, such as plant locations, animal locations, and then all types of events, camps, all kinds of stuff on this map. So it's a really good resource to use if you're looking for something specific, in this case, the moose. So if you're struggling to get one to spawn, maybe you tried some areas in this video, I would recommend pulling this map up. There's a ton of moose spawns on here. It's not even an entire list though, because several of the ones that I show in this video are not listed on this map, and they're some of my best locations, but it doesn't hurt to try some other areas out. And this map can have some useful information, such as like what time of day they might spawn, and it'll show you the general area as well. So I'll link it in the description below, but again, it's just a really great resource that I highly recommend you check out. Tip number 2 is to try not to get too frustrated. I think that moose are one of the hardest spawning animals in the game, and even, like I said when making this video, I struggled, and I see moose all the time in this game, but just when you're looking for something, it just tends not to spawn. That's just how it is. So I would try a couple areas, try to employ some of the tips like making sure the area has been cleared out of any events, try to sleep a couple in-game days, reload save. So try to do a few things in an area. And if after, 5-10 minutes goes by and you can't find a moose there, try a different location. And then, 5-10 minutes goes by, try a different location. And at that point, unless you're really determined and you have a lot of time, if you're getting frustrated, I would just stop, take a break, go do something else in the game. So do another challenge, do another mission, wander around, like check stuff out, and then just come back to it another time, because sometimes the animal just isn't going to spawn and it's not worth it to get frustrated that it isn't spawning. Tip number 3, the easiest way, in my opinion, to preserve the 3-star pelt quality for a moose is to either from a distance use a Carcano or a rolling block to get a one-shot headshot, or to get close enough to lasso and use the kill prompt once it pops up. Now, if you lasso and use the kill prompt, it cannot drop star levels. If you use a Carcano or rolling block and you don't get the one-shot headshot, it will drop the star level. So the lasso is a guaranteed, whatever star level it is, it's not going to lose it. The Carcano and the rolling block are just really powerful, and if the moose is not usually moving, you can get the headshot pretty easily. You can also get a kill, preserving the pelt quality using a Springfield, a bolt action, an improved arrow, or poison arrow. You just have to make sure you get that one-shot headshot. So it just depends on how comfortable you are with the different weapons and whether or not the moose is running or is stationary. Finally, make sure you pick up the Buck Antler Trinket. This is going to increase the quality of skinned animals, allowing you to get perfect pelts much easier. So this can be obtained once you kill the legendary buck and skin them, and you can then craft it at the fence. So definitely pick that up because it is useful and it can be helpful for all animals when you're doing this game to make sure it's a little bit easier for you to get those 3-star animals that you need. If you found this video helpful, I'd appreciate it if you'd leave it a like, and if you have a really great moose location, please share it in the comments section below. I wish you guys all much success in finding that moose. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.